Hello guys, welcome to the first video of our YouTube 3D printing tutorials. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Chitubox to process our action figure files or any 3D file, put it into the slicer, what is a slicer, how to use it, how to export it, and well, how to put it to print. If there is anything that you don't understand about the tutorial, be sure to check other tutorials online because there are some key concepts that I don't go in depth, like how to tune in your printer, how to assemble your printer, how to prepare your 3D printing profile. I go over that in other videos, and I'll put a YouTube card later in the video so you can go and watch that one. So without further ado, let's watch the video. So once you download the file that you purchased at our shop, you will find a RAR that contains all this information. Basically what we want to look for are the supported files, but let's briefly cover each part of everything that it has. So Charlotte parts fulfillment is just an image that you have to print for a later video that will help us bingo our way of knowing which parts the figure has or that we are missing to complete an order or a figure. Then we have the license that lets us know what we can do with the files and what we can't. I suggest you read it because although we let you guys do a lot of stuff, there are some things that we would like you to respect. And then you have the README that has all the information of how to do things with the characters and a brief story of Charlotte. Then we have two ways of going forward. We have the OBJs and we have the Jitbox. For those that know nothing about 3D, the OBJ is just a format in which our file can come in. Basically, we have all the action figure separated in files. But since I already supported everything for you guys and already tested it, I suggest you open the file that is supported. The difference between supported and unsupported, which is this one, is that it comes with supports already for 3D printing. If someone tells you, no, we only accept STL or FBX or you need those files, OBJ works exactly the same. In fact, OBJ, the only difference with STL is that it records a bit more information. STL, it's a great file, a great file type, but I just like OBJ. And then the remaining file is War Makers, Sirens of the Silver Sails, Charlotte Candy Fowie, Action Figure, Supported Files B2. This file is in .chitubox, which means that it opens with the program Chitubox. So if you use Liche or if you use the Prusa one, the Prusa slicer, I don't think it will work. You will have to resupport stuff, or you will have to download the Chitubox file, the Chitubox program, and either use it to slice your figure or to just export it as a big STL and just import it in the program that you want to use. So I'm using a very old version of Chitubox because I have all my supports saved here. I just have to export them and import them in the newer versions. But for this demonstration, that doesn't matter because I won't be explaining how to use in depth the slicer, but I will just show you the steps to put to print and mention a few things. I prefer Chitu because overall it has been very solid and has very good controls over what the way that you print and how you put supports. It has, of course, its faults, and there is a pro version that I haven't tried, but people say that it's not much different of the normal one. It just adds a few stuff that are not really important. So I'm just going to load my Chitubox file. You can either open it here or you can drag the Chitubox file here. So what does Chitubox do? It's not only a 3D model viewer, but also it is a 3D model slicer, which means that it converts our 3D model into images that the 3D printing can understand and print. You can find more information either in our troubleshooting video, which is the last video of this series, or you can just watch a few videos to understand what 3D printing is. So when you open our file, I'll put everything in orthographic so I can see it properly. You will understand that there are sets of parts, right? And everything is cataloged with text. So text is informative, do not print. This just means that everything that you have here, all the texts, is just to inform you of what is what, and that you don't have to print it. You can print it, but it does nothing, right? So we're going to delete this because we don't need it. So in other videos, I explain the parts that come with the action figure, but basically we have heads with its ponytail, we have several versions of them, then we have several weapons and styles, but these are weapons and items scaled to standard 6-inch action figures. These are not Charlotte's weapons. These are to be used with mythic legions and stuff like that. Then you have weapons and items that these are the Charlotte's weapons. They already come with a hand accounted for, like they are already built in the model. They are just to, so Charlotte can express better the action that she's doing, and also since we don't want the paint to brush off whenever you put on a weapon or not, we already added the hand in, so you just paint the hand that it's attached to the weapon. Then we have print in flexible resin. Um, we are still testing stuff. Maybe you don't have to use flexible resin and you can just use TOF 74, but 74B2. But yeah, these are the parts that should come in flexible resin, or at least this one, because if not, the movement on the legs is very limited. These are two types of belt. The chest belt can be printed in normal resin. In fact, I suggest it. And this one needs a bit more flex. So I'm going to continue. Then you have the torso parts, nothing to see there. In the assembly video, I explain more about this. Then you have the legs separated by right and left. These are left by the figure, not ours, because if not, they would be inverted. So this would be looked like this, left and right, left and right. And then we have right hand and right arm parts and left arm parts. And then we have the discs, right? There are more discs than you need for the hands. These are for the hands, they are very small, and these are doubled for the rest of the discs of the body. This is because when you're post-producing, you risk losing some, so I suggest printing a couple of these just to ensure that whenever you are post-producing your figure, you don't lose key parts to assemble the figure. So let's say I want to print a few of these. I just move them to the area here, and I just want to move them. In order to slice them, you would need to first add your printer. I don't know specifically where it is. I think here, it's where it says configuration. You will find here that you can add your printer. I already have mine added, and then you have the printing file that you will have to tweak based on your printer. In my troubleshooting video that I will see if I can add here, I explain how this works and how to get consistent and better prints. But basically, you just select the printer that you want, that you have to have preloaded. They come with basic profiles, and I suggest you start with those, and then if something fails, come to our 3D printing group, 3D printing PDT, and yeah, ask questions, show us, and we will help you out. So there's a difference between selecting the 3D printer and selecting the profile. Let's see if a printer that I have more profiles here. So these are not created by me. This comes by default with the machine. So you see fast resin, fast, standard resin, fast, standard resin, normal. So this means that you're using standard resin, so normal resin, and you print normally. This is standard resin, but you print fast, and this is fast resin, fast. So you will have different types of resins, but the majority are normal resins. So you will be using this one, standard resin. Let's just go over a bit of this. Layer height is normal. This one don't change it. Bottom layers, this one generally around 6, 10. These are the base of the figure where it constructs all the base to build upon. Exposure time, it's the time the LCD it's on for the normal layers. And then you have the time, right? Here bottom exposure time, this is how much these layers are on. These are the transition between the normal layers and the bottom layers. Type of machine, linear, I don't change this. This is how much time it would take to transition each layer. And waiting mode, this one, change it to this mode, the other light of delay, and change it to, I don't know why it's not separated, but change the normal layer to 2 and the bottom layer to 70. And that will allow you to print more consistently. And this one, leave it as it is. So let's say you already have everything set up. We close it because that was just for the setup. If you have a support that you don't like, you can zoom in and just modify the position of it, right? Because this is Chitubox. So you can do this, that, and move it around. I don't know why it's viewing so weird in OBS. I'm seeing it normal in Chitubox, but this black and this highlights here are not supposed to be there. So let's say the model is perfect as you want it. We have already printed this a couple of times and it prints beautifully. So I wouldn't change anything. Maybe you will notice more support marks or maybe a support sticking to one of the parts if you have a very, very high layer time, but the one that comes by default in the program is not, it's the same that we use. So once you have everything that you want to print, we will remove this from the bed. You configure, you select the machine you want, standard resin, yeah, this is everything that we need. Then you hit slice, which will convert our 3D model in layers. You can notice here 1768 layers, and if we go down, you will see that this is how it constructs. This is a preview, but it shows you how it constructs the 3D model, right? So for example, you can go to a specific layer. This is very useful when you want to notice where is a problem. You go more or less where the layer is, and then you can see if it's a bottom layer exposure time or a normal layer exposure time. That's very useful. So let's go to slice. The model has surpassed the printing platform. That means that I have some kind of 3D model outside the printing platform. You will see, for example, well, in this version, I can't select everything and delete it. So I'm just going to select them manually and show you. There you go. So even if I have just one file, or even if the file is half in, half out, you can see here on the red area, it will still give us this message. So I'll just delete this. And when you're printing, you see these lines here. Try not to touch them. Although you can print, this is very, very on the edge of the printer, and it can lead to issues with the FEP and all that stuff. So always try to keep it inside the boundary of the platform. So let's just go and slice. So basically, it just shows us what we sliced. We can have a preview here, and this on the right shows us the images that it has created for us. This is what the printer will be reading and turning on and off the LCD to cure the resin. Here you can see a brief overview of your 3D printing profile. Checking this sometimes helps to see if you by mistake chose another type of profile that you didn't need. It's very easy to check and very helpful. And here it will tell you a few information. You have the name of the machine, you have the resin or the profile, and then you have the volume and the grams that it uses of resin. Generally, this is pretty accurate to set up a price. You can set up the price of the resin that you are using, how much it costs you, and it tells you how much you are using, and then the time. The time you can add 30 minutes or 1 hour. The longer the print is, the more time you have to add extra, because although it does a very good time to calculate, the older machines just do whatever. And so know that it's not an exact science. Then you just hit save, and it will give you 2 different file types. Generally, the one that comes selected is the one that you should use for your specific machine, because this is like a language. If you save it in the other extension, the printer simply won't understand it. So leave it as it is. Even if the printer can read the file that you're giving it, it doesn't mean that it works for your printer. So I suggest to create the file name with the name of the printer, for example, Saturn 3 Ultra, and then the version of the thing that you're printing, or for heads, like having some kind of name that you can understand later, because it's very easy when you have one specific file, but when you have like 10 files and you have to select them in the viewport of the machine, it's very difficult to see which one it is, although it has a preview, but it's very small. You can modify the supports, but it may happen that if you want to, for example, rotate our things, our objects, you can only rotate them in the Z axis, because if you rotate it in any other axis, it will ask you to remove the supports. For example, I want to rotate it in the X axis. So see, it removed the supports and I have to add them again. If this happens in the newer versions, you can hit Ctrl Z and it will come back to having supports. In this one, it doesn't. Like it's a very rudimentary program, but it's really cool. So yeah, that's it. You export the file to a pen drive and then take it to the printer, turn it on, put your resin in, and just hit print. And that will be all. See you in the next video.